The cursor blinks mockingly at 2:08 a.m. Your fifth cup of coffee has gone cold, forgotten beside a mouse that feels heavier than it should. Another perfect setup crumbles before your eyes. The red candle drops like a verdict you've seen too many times before. This isn't about that one trade. This is about the 1,000 small defeats that finally broke something inside you. The moment when 2 decades of experience felt worthless, when drawing trend lines with religious devotion couldn't save you from watching newcomers, kids barely out of college, casually ask AI for answers you've been burning yourself alive trying to find. Don't wait. Support the channel by liking and subscribing. It really makes a difference for our development. You laughed at first. AI in trading? What could a chatbot possibly understand about fear, about conviction, about the weight of watching your account bleed? But that laughter masked something darker. The terrifying possibility that you weren't just outdated, but fundamentally broken. Not your strategy, not your indicators. You. The breakdown came quietly. No screaming, no desk-slamming drama. Just silence in a dark kitchen, staring through windows at empty streets, feeling like a fraud despite all the books, the back-testing, the sacrifices. Brilliant in theory, shattered in execution. But here's what that moment really was. An invitation. An invitation to stop pretending that more hustle equals better results. To admit that you're fighting a machine-age market with stone-age psychology. So when pride finally cracked and you typed that first hesitant question into ChatGPT, something shifted. Not just in the data it provided, but in how it made you think. How it taught you to see patterns your emotions had been hiding. Let me show you exactly what happened next, and how one conversation with artificial intelligence transformed not just my trading, but the way I understood my own mind. Something inside me sparked to life, but not because I'd discovered a miraculous solution. I realized I'd been battling the wrong opponent all along. The problem wasn't the market, it was me. My tools, my routines, my entire approach needed transformation. That evening didn't solve everything instantly, but it created a tiny opening. And once that door cracks open, there's no returning to the old way of thinking. Suddenly, I started seeing my patterns differently. My stubborn habits came into question. I understood that discipline without growth is just another form of self-deception. Trading isn't merely about technical skills, it's about clarity, precision, and adaptability. And this journey doesn't begin with a trade. It starts with a breakdown. There were no dramatic revelations or blinding insights. Just a simple, almost embarrassing sentence I typed into a blinking cursor: analyze your USD for tomorrow's London session. I didn't expect much. Part of me was still skeptical, mocking the idea of a seasoned trader consulting an AI chatbot. But desperation has a way of breaking through our most carefully constructed defenses. What returned wasn't just a standard response. It was a reflection. Beyond support and resistance levels, beyond risk projections, something deeper emerged. Context, explanation, clarity. This wasn't just telling me where price might move. It explained why. It revealed correlations I'd missed, sentiment factors I'd overlooked. The language was perfect trader terminology, yet so logical and clear that I felt like I was learning again. Between the fifth and sixth sentence, I experienced something long forgotten: relief. Not because I'd found a magical solution, but because, for the first time in ages, I wasn't trading alone. In that moment, I understood something profound, a truth so straightforward, it struck me with brutal clarity. My problem wasn't about skill, it was about capacity. Trading isn't difficult because markets are malevolent. It's challenging because the human brain was never engineered for such complexity. We simply cannot simultaneously monitor 30 assets, analyze 4 timeframes, track 3 news events, and manage our own emotional turbulence. No level of discipline can overcome such mental overload. But artificial intelligence? It's different. AI doesn't blink, doesn't doubt, doesn't hesitate. It carries no trauma, feels no greed, seeks no revenge. When you position this cold, surgical intelligence alongside your human instincts, not above them, something remarkable happens. You don't just trade better, you transform. My transformation began with specific AI companions. ChatGPT became my strategist, my patient professor who never tired of explaining. Claude emerged as my analyst, the critical voice questioning my exposures. Gemini served as my real-time watcher, filtering news and highlighting what truly mattered in the moment. Each had a distinct function, almost a personality. Together, they became more than tools. They became my second brain. And everything changed. Before AI, trading felt like brutal trench warfare. Every chart was a battle. Every decision a war between logic and emotion. You'd wake exhausted, your victories feeling like narrow escapes from disaster. With AI, trading transformed into a symphony, not effortless, but elegant. Ask the right question, and the entire system comes alive. It deconstructs complexity, reveals hidden edges, and teaches you how to think, not what to think. But I'm absolutely clear about one thing. This shift isn't just technological, it's psychological. To truly leverage AI, you must confront what most traders spend years avoiding: the recognition that your own thinking is fundamentally flawed. You can't simply plug AI into a broken mindset and expect miracles. You can't approach AI with lazy, vague questions and then blame the technology for poor results. You need to learn how to think alongside it, guide it, and collaborate effectively. AI isn't some magical solution. It's an amplifier of your own capabilities. If you feel afraid of this technology, it likely reveals your own insecurities about your limitations, blind spots, and illusions of control. But if you embrace it, you'll discover something remarkable. All the discipline you believed you needed, all the focus you tried to force, all the competitive edge you hoped to find was already within you, just buried beneath layers of overthinking and noise, waiting to be unleashed. The transformation begins when you stop questioning whether you trust AI and start wondering what happens when AI reveals uncomfortable truths to you. It will highlight the flaws in your plans. It will expose the weaknesses in your logic. It provides a second perspective that never blinks or hesitates. Gradually, these small improvements start multiplying. You begin entering trades with precision, not from fear, but from calculated confidence. You stop forcing trades not because you've lost belief, but because you've found genuine alignment. You accept losses with clarity and embrace victories with humility. You start becoming the trader you originally imagined when you first opened your first chart. Not because AI magically fixed you, but because it cleared away the mental clutter, allowing you to improve yourself. This isn't about shortcuts or quick fixes. It's about expanding your vision and increasing your cognitive bandwidth. It's about upgrading your thinking to trade with the skill you've always known you possess. Using AI doesn't make you less of a trader. It makes you more formidable, giving you precision without pressure, discipline without force, and an edge without ego. The transformation is already underway. The only question is whether you'll evolve with it or remain stuck fighting imaginary obstacles while others leverage advanced tools. Every serious trader eventually realizes that consistent success isn't about accumulating more information. It's about seeing more clearly, quickly, and without emotional interference. I once believed I could achieve this entirely on my own. I believed that if I worked hard enough, read enough, sacrificed enough sleep, I would eventually develop that elusive sixth sense for market intuition. I dreamed of that magical moment where you can sense the perfect trade entry, the flawless exit, and feel the momentum shift just before it happens. Then, I encountered three silent partners who completely transformed my understanding of trading. They didn't shout or make grand promises. They didn't sell me expensive courses or guarantee instant wealth. Instead, they simply listened, responded, and revealed the blind spots in my approach. Their names were ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini, but not as software or bots, not some magical solution. Together, they became what I now call the Trinity, the three minds I consult before executing any trade. Let me tell you about each of them. First is ChatGPT, the architect. This isn't a guru or a magic solution, but a guide. It's like a patient professor who takes everything you know and don't know and weaves it into a comprehensive strategy. I use ChatGPT like a precise surgical instrument to analyze, clarify, and plan. Want to learn a new trading system? It will walk you through each step meticulously. Need to validate a trade idea? It will test your hypothesis, highlight potential weaknesses, and suggest alternative perspectives. The real brilliance is its adaptability. ChatGPT speaks your language, whether you're an experienced trader or a complete novice. It adjusts not just its content, but its entire communication style. It taught me that trading isn't just about execution, it's about articulation. If you can't explain your trade, you probably shouldn't make it. ChatGPT forces this clarity by constantly asking probing questions. Why this entry? What's your risk profile? What would invalidate your setup? Suddenly, trading becomes a dialogue, not a monologue. Through this conversation, your thinking evolves and becomes more sophisticated. Then there's Claude, the strategist. While ChatGPT helps you think, Claude helps you refine. It's sharp, quiet, and surgical, like a friend who refuses to let you deceive yourself. Claude doesn't care about your excitement over a potential trade. It cares about pure logic, correlation, and risk concentration. Claude doesn't offer flattery or soft explanations. It challenges you directly. When I upload a chart and ask what it sees, it reveals everything I've overlooked: hidden divergences, subtle volume shifts, correlated asset pressures that I completely forgot to consider. Claude analyzes my potential trade entry with cold precision, pointing out I'm 17 pips early based on the last 10 similar market patterns. It's not trying to be clever or emotional, just objectively processing data. Claude doesn't get excited or scared. It simply connects the dots and presents a decision tree stripped of any emotional interference. This objectivity makes it potentially dangerous, not to me personally, but to my old, undisciplined trading habits. Gemini acts like a strategic scout, providing a comprehensive market overview. It's my intelligence officer, scanning the broader landscape while I focus on specific trading objectives. Each morning, I ask Gemini about market movements, risk sentiment across different regions, and asset momentum. In just 30 seconds, I receive a concise pulse reading of the entire market environment. The real power emerges when I integrate these AI tools systematically. I take Gemini's sentiment scan, filter it through Claude's logical framework, and then collaborate with ChatGPT to develop a comprehensive trade strategy. It's like consulting three world-class experts simultaneously, each offering a unique perspective aimed solely at helping me succeed. But I'm clear-eyed about their limitations. These aren't mystical oracles or infallible predictors. Their output directly reflects the quality of my input. Vague or lazy prompts yield superficial, unhelpful responses. However, when approached with genuine intention, precision, and intellectual curiosity, these tools can be transformative. They amplify my strengths, reveal my blind spots, and protect me from my own emotional impulses. The key is understanding that they don't replace my trading edge. They magnify it. Trading isn't about becoming an AI, but about working alongside artificial intelligence. The key is simple. You don't need advanced technical skills, or an academic background. What matters is your willingness to learn and adapt. While some traders are still battling markets using caffeine and intuition, others are quietly partnering with intelligence that never tires, never hesitates, never gets emotional. The results are clear: smaller losses, more precise strategies, greater understanding, and most importantly, consistent performance. Imagine your trading transformed by 3 tireless assistants working nonstop. Picture a strategy that gets triple-checked before every trade. Consider how quickly you could improve if learning happened in seconds instead of through months of costly mistakes. The Trinity offers more than just support. It provides multiple forms of leverage. In trading, leverage is everything. If you're still trading alone, relying on mood, memory, or guesswork, it might be time to stop playing every role and start conducting. The Trinity is ready and waiting. This isn't a future shift. It's already happening. But trading isn't just about systems and strategies. It's about human experiences. Behind every chart is a person. Behind every loss, a story. Behind every breakthrough is someone who stopped pretending and started truly growing. Take James, for example, a 47-year-old father of 2. He's been trading Forex for 15 years. He knows the market like a chef knows his kitchen. Every morning, he'd wake at 5 a.m., meticulously scanning 28 currency pairs, checking news calendars, marking charts, calculating pivot points. 3 hours of preparation before the London market opened. He was neither lazy nor reckless. James was a meticulous professional with a complex work style. Disciplined yet unpredictable, he struggled to maintain consistent focus. One morning, his college-age daughter walked by his workspace, noticing the cluttered scene. 6 browser tabs open, a messy notepad, and his weary expression. She casually suggested using AI for help. James immediately responded defensively, declaring he wasn't lazy. Yet, her comment lingered in his mind. That evening, curiosity overcame his initial resistance. He opened Claude, uploaded some chart screenshots, and typed a concise request for analysis of trading pairs during the London session. Within moments, the AI revealed insights James had overlooked. It identified a hidden divergence on AI to USD that he had missed completely. The system also suggested a high-probability trade setup for GBP JPY based on recent Bank of Japan meeting minutes. Most surprisingly, it highlighted a complex correlation between EUR, GBP, and oil prices that had escaped James's attention for over 10 years. The next morning, James followed the AI's recommendations. He secured 127 pips, but the financial gain wasn't the most significant outcome. He realized his expertise wasn't outdated. It simply needed technological amplification. Lisa presented a different story. A 67-year-old retired school teacher living alone in a small Ohio apartment, she faced financial constraints. Her grandson had mentioned ChatGPT, opening a new world of possibilities. Despite knowing nothing about trading platforms or technical terms, she approached learning with determination. With hesitant fingers, she asked the AI for guidance on starting with just $100. ChatGPT responded like a patient mentor, recommending EUR/USD and carefully explaining trading fundamentals. They collaboratively developed a strategic approach. Lisa's subsequent questions were careful and measured. When she saw EUR/USD at 1.0850, she sought advice on potential entry points. ChatGPT responded by asking about her risk tolerance, time frame, and objectives. They identified an entry point at 1.0835, setting a stop at 1.820 and a target at 1.0865. At 1:47 p.m., the price hit the entry point. Lisa took a deep breath and executed the trade. 2 hours later, her target was reached, netting a $30 profit. She wasn't moved by the money itself, but by the empowerment of learning something entirely new. Lisa now trades regularly, generating $200 to $300 weekly. She's even established an online community helping other retirees learn AI-assisted trading, driven by her belief that if she could succeed, others could too. David is a construction worker who trades at night after his shifts. For years, he barely broke even, oscillating between small gains and losses, always feeling exhausted. His trading setup seemed solid, and his instincts weren't wrong, but something consistently held him back. In a moment of frustration, he uploaded his last 20 losing trades to Claude and asked why he kept failing. Claude's response was precise. His directional bias was 73% accurate, but his entries were consistently 15 to 20 pips too early. David stared at the screen, stunned that an AI had identified in seconds what he had missed for years. He asked Claude to show him what he was overlooking. The AI highlighted subtle details David had never noticed: consolidation zones, minor volume anomalies, and institutional accumulation patterns invisible to the human eye. On his next trade, David changed his approach. He waited for confirmation instead of jumping in early, and the trade was clean and stress-free. That night, he realized something profound. He had been right all along. He just needed someone or something to show him exactly when his intuition could become executable. Sarah's story was different. A single mom working at the DMV, she had 2 kids, 0 trading experience, no time, and no margin for error. During a lunch break, she asked ChatGPT to explain Forex trading in simple terms. She then consulted Claude to confirm her understanding and checked Gemini for current market conditions. Her trading journey was methodical. Her first week, she lost $50 while learning. The second week, she broke even. By the third week, she was making $180. Now she consistently earns between $50 and $800 weekly without gambling. "I don't code," she would laugh. "I just talk to them like they're my genius friends who happen to trade." For her, these AI tools were exactly that: intelligent companions guiding her through complex financial landscapes. These weren't outliers or paid actors. These were real people with bills, fears, full-time jobs, children, doubts, and dreams. People who once thought they had missed their chance were now realizing they were standing on the edge of a revolution. Not just in markets, but in mindsets. The message was clear. The market doesn't care about your age, background, profession, or past mistakes. It only cares about good decisions. When you combine personal experience with intelligence that never rests, never loses memory, and never pauses, you start making decisions more effectively, quickly, and precisely. The clarity that once took years to develop now emerges faster. The tools exist, and the stories are genuine. The question has shifted from, "Can AI help people like me?" to, "What's possible when I stop working in isolation?" Brad abandoned his responsibility by surrendering thought and labeling it automation. Maria's story followed a different but equally risky path. She wanted to automate her trading using AI alerts, finding an online prompt that said, "Generate trade alerts based on all valid signals from this strategy." She implemented it without hesitation. That day, she received 847 signals and attempted to trade every single one. No filtering, no context, no structure. Her trading dashboard exploded with activity. She clicked and placed orders faster than her brain could comprehend the setups. This wasn't trading. It was algorithmic gambling. By day's end, she was exhausted and down 2,800. AI hadn't failed her. She had failed herself by pursuing quantity over quality. Derek experienced 2 exceptional weeks using AI, executing cleanly with solid gains, his confidence growing and momentum building. Then came the most dangerous thought in trading: "This thing can't lose." He dramatically increased his position size tenfold. The next trade was a standard loss, normal market volatility. Just one of those trades that doesn't work. But because he had violated his own risk parameters, that single trade erased everything, resulting in an $18,000 loss in 1 hour. He didn't just lose money. He lost trust in himself, in the tools, in the entire process. Overconfidence isn't resolved by AI. Sometimes it's actually intensified if you're not careful. Let's be absolutely clear. AI is a reflection tool. It amplifies your clarity, but also your chaos. It multiplies your logic and your laziness. It executes your ideas without questioning your motives, unless specifically programmed to do so. Approach AI with vague prompts, emotional energy, and no structure, and you'll receive beautifully packaged garbage that you'll mistake for wisdom. That's the real danger. You stop questioning. You stop verifying. You start believing everything the machine tells you. Here's the real story about AI. It doesn't truly understand the market. It recognizes patterns, processes data, and can sound incredibly intelligent. But it lacks crucial personal context, your capital, risk tolerance, emotional background, trading strategy, and individual blind spots. You must actively guide and train AI. Otherwise, it will generate hallucinations. I've witnessed traders asking AI simplistic questions like, "Should I buy this pair?" The AI responds with seemingly precise details. Buy at 1.030, target 1965, stop at 1.910. It sounds convincing until you realize the AI has no understanding of your trading session, account size, upcoming news events, or your specific trading plan. Traders blindly trust these AI-generated recommendations, leading to catastrophic account failures. AI isn't a magical solution. It's a reflection. It amplifies exactly what you input. Feed it clarity, and you'll get insights. Feed it confusion, and you'll get chaos. Feed it ego, and it will happily help you destroy your trading account. The solution isn't avoiding or fearing AI. It's about respecting and mastering your interaction with it. This means asking sophisticated, nuanced questions. Instead of "should I buy?" ask about probability of continuation, potential invalidation factors. Rather than demanding a trade, request a comprehensive thesis assessment, including risks, correlations, and optimal risk-reward ratios. AI is a collaborative partner, not an authoritative parent. It won't prevent you from making mistakes. It will simply help you make them faster and with more data. Elite traders understand this. They use AI to enhance discipline, structure, and trading edge, not to escape personal responsibility. Those who don't become cautionary examples in the trading world. Every morning at 6 a.m., I start my trading ritual. This isn't about being an early bird, it's about market preparation. While most traders are still half asleep, scrolling through random news, I'm already focused and methodical. My first move is connecting with Gemini. I open the tab and request a summary of critical global events impacting Forex and market sentiment over the past 12 hours. Within seconds, I receive pure, unfiltered market intelligence. I'm looking for central bank updates, geopolitical tensions, unexpected economic data, and liquidity shifts. This isn't about reading headlines. It's about understanding the deeper market currents. Next, I dig deeper. I ask about current risk sentiment signals across Asia and Europe. This gives me more than just information. It provides emotional context. I'm not just seeing data, I'm feeling the global market's pulse. Then comes my strategic screening. I screenshot my top 3 currency pairs and send them to Claude. My prompt is precise. Analyze these pairs for high-probability London session setups. I want a comprehensive view considering technical structure, recent price action, and broader macro context. Claude delivers insights that most traders would miss. It identifies liquidity zones, catches subtle divergences, and highlights weak support levels and institutional trading footprints. But my critical follow-up question changes everything. What invalidates each of these setups? This forces both Claude and myself to focus on risk management, not just potential rewards. I'll create a trade plan with AI, focusing on one clear narrative. I'll use ChatGPT to develop a detailed strategy with precise entry, stop loss, and take profit levels. The goal is a logical, explainable trade that I can trust. I'll ask the AI to break down the trade plan, considering risk tolerance of 1% per trade and a maximum of 2 open positions. The key is having a rationale I can articulate. If I can't explain the trade clearly, I won't execute it. This approach has saved me more money than any signal service. Next, I take 5 quiet minutes away from screens and charts. With just paper and pen, I write one defining sentence. Here's what the market is telling me today. This exercise forces me to commit to a single narrative, a single trading thesis. Many traders make the mistake of chasing multiple biases in one session. I focus on one clear idea. The AI has provided the technical groundwork, but I'm still the pilot, and pilots never fly without a comprehensive flight plan. I'll execute trades based on strict rules, not hope. My trade size is preset, never risking more than 1% and never holding more than 2 positions simultaneously. No exceptions. Before executing, I'll have ChatGPT review the trade plan one last time. I'll confirm it aligns with previous risk parameters and market context. If anything seems off, I'll make adjustments. If everything checks out, I'll execute the trade and then step away. Good trading feels boring. It's about discipline and restraint. AI doesn't just help me find better trades, it helps me avoid worse ones. This realization has been transformative. At 6 p.m., I'll conduct an end-of-day review. Regardless of the day's outcome, I'll ask ChatGPT to analyze my trading decisions. What did I do well? What could be improved? What behavioral patterns are emerging? The AI provides objective, unfiltered feedback without flattery or shame. Some nights it might suggest a good entry, but recommend reviewing take-profit triggers. Other times, it might advise setting a daily trade limit after an emotionally charged loss. And I listen, always learning, always adapting. This isn't just about making money. It's about becoming the kind of trader who truly deserves success. That's the core of the system. 6 steps, 3 tools, 1 trader with 0 guesswork. And I'll be completely honest, I've never felt more confident. So much more in control, more at peace. Not because I win every single trade, I absolutely don't. But because every single decision is backed by solid logic, clear structure, and a second brain that never stops working. This doesn't mean I'm perfect. It means I don't have to be. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by complex charts, if you've ever hesitated, double-clicked nervously, or stared at a trading candle for 20 agonizing minutes, trying to somehow feel the market's pulse, this system wasn't just created for me. It was created for you. For the overwhelmed traders, the burned-out investors, the hopeful skeptics who are still clinging to the belief that trading can be better. And it can be. It is. Right now. Using tools you already have access to. AI won't trade for you, but it will trade alongside you if you build the right system around it. And once that system is firmly in place, there's no turning back. The market noise fades, the stress disappears, and the process becomes simple. Not easy, but predictable. And in a world of constant chaos, that predictability is worth everything. When you build systems that remove emotion, and you start stacking small, high-probability trades, you unlock something far more powerful than adrenaline: momentum. Not emotional momentum, mathematical momentum. Every day you stick to the plan, every trade that hits your 1% target, every time you don't overtrade after a win, that's a brick. By brick, you build something most traders never even glimpse: true consistency. Let me tell you about Jennifer. She's an ordinary bank teller earning $32,000 a year, a single mom who's smart but overwhelmed. Her dreams weren't about luxury cars or massive wealth. She simply wanted some financial options, extra grocery money, and maybe an earlier retirement. With just $500, she decided to try trading. Her first step was asking an AI to create a conservative trading plan focused on consistent small gains. The strategy was straightforward: aim for 0.5 to 1% daily returns, limit trades to 2 per day, stop trading after 2 consecutive losses, and never risk more than 1% per trade. No complex strategies, just simple structure. Her progress was steady. In the first month, her $500 grew to $612. The second month saw her balance increase to $748, and by the third month, she reached $914. These weren't dramatic gains, just quiet, consistent wins. But momentum was slowly building. By the sixth month, her account had reached $2,000. Something shifted at this point. Her 1% trades now generated $20 instead of $5, using the same setups and risk levels. This was the power of compounding, growing not just her account, but her confidence. At the end of her first year, Jennifer had grown her initial $500 to $8,147, nearly 18 times her original balance. She achieved this not through risky, aggressive trades, but by consistently making small, calculated moves. What transformed Jennifer wasn't just the profits. It was learning that discipline, systematic approach, and AI support could consistently outperform emotional trading. She discovered that by focusing on what she could control, process, risk, and clarity, results would follow naturally. Most importantly, she realized success doesn't come from trying harder, but from eliminating the behaviors that repeatedly cause failure. Her journey showed that steady, methodical progress beats sporadic, emotional trading every time. Let's break down the numbers. What seems insignificant actually adds up. $400 monthly becomes $4,800 annually, and with compounding, that doubles. Imagine this continuing for 3 years, with your base increasing after each successful streak. Most people stop here because the math feels tedious. But here's the critical question. If boring leads to wealth and excitement keeps you broke, why chase excitement? Let's talk about your history. You've probably experienced big wins that didn't last. Why? Without structure, success becomes random, like a coin toss. No sustainable future is built on chance. What this system and AI provide isn't just opportunity, it's repeatability. That's the real advantage. It's not about the spectacular 50% trade that suddenly triples your account. It's about the consistent 1% trade that appears reliably, like clockwork. When you combine repeatability with discipline and let compounding work its magic, everything changes. Not overnight, but inevitably. Einstein called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. In trading, it's more than a wonder. It's your strategic weapon. This weapon works best when you stop chasing speed and start pursuing consistency. The trader who grows slowly and steadily ultimately wins faster, not through superior knowledge, but by stopping self-destructive behaviors. Stop bleeding money. Stop self-sabotaging. Stop over-leveraging. Stop acting on impulse. Once you halt these destructive patterns, profit becomes natural, growth becomes predictable, freedom becomes tangible. If you're thinking, I'm only making $10 a day, it's not worth it, reconsider. That $10 is a seed, and every seed, when nurtured consistently, becomes unstoppable. AI won't hand you a jackpot, but it will provide a process. When you respect that process, Even small wins can transform your life. There's a pivotal moment in every trader's journey when you realize success isn't about finding better trades. It's about becoming the type of person who can consistently execute them. You can possess all the tools, data, and AI available, but if your process shifts with your emotions, if your entries waver with fear, if your strategy crumbles during market volatility, then none of it matters. Here's the rewritten fragment. What sets consistent traders apart isn't raw intelligence. It's about creating a ritual, practicing deliberate repetition, and maintaining structured intention. The rhythm becomes a shield that protects you from your own worst impulses. But there's a crucial detail. You must construct this ritual yourself. Artificial intelligence can assist, but it won't do the work for you. I'll walk you through my personal approach. It might seem simple, but it's deeply meaningful. Not because I worship routine, but because I've witnessed the consequences of abandoning it. Here's how my morning unfolds. At 5:45 a.m., I wake up and walk. I embrace silence. No digital screens, no trading charts. Just a few quiet moments to reconnect with myself before transforming into a trader. If I begin the day in a reactive mode, scrolling, comparing, consuming, I've already surrendered my edge. I deliberately avoid engaging with AI until I've centered myself, ensuring the human remains the core of the system. At 6 a.m., my technological trinity activates. 3 browser tabs, 3 strategic roles. Gemini handles global market sentiment. Claude manages chart logic. ChatGPT coordinates strategic orchestration. Total focus. No distractions. Just me interfacing with these machines. I start with Gemini. I request a summary of overnight developments across foreign exchange, equities, cryptocurrency, and overall risk sentiment. This gives me the market's pulse, its underlying tone. I dig deeper with follow-up questions. What's the risk appetite today? Which currencies are currently strongest and weakest? Are there any significant volatility triggers in the next 4 hours? Now I understand where potential dangers lurk and which paths might offer clearer navigation. Here's the rewritten fragment maintaining the original's flow, meaning, and details. My confidence in executing the plan starts with a clear statement. At 6:30 a.m., I write a single sentence in my notebook. Today, I will trade according to. Some days it's about following the market's signals, not my desires. Other days, it's about sticking to the system, not my emotions. This isn't just a sentence. It's a personal contract between my current self and the version of me I aspire to become before the trading day's chaos erupts. At 7 a.m., the execution window opens. If a setup triggers, I enter the trade. If not, I don't force anything. That's my ritual. I've made my decisions in advance and planned carefully. Now, I trust the process. Not because it's flawless, but because it's more powerful than my impulses. No reanalysis, no scrolling through social media. Once trades are placed, I darken the screen. I'll check back at a predetermined time, not a moment sooner. The longer I stare, the more likely I am to become emotional again. And I didn't create this ritual to obsess over every market movement. At 6 p.m., I conduct my debrief and analyze patterns. I consult an AI, review my day's trades. What went well? What mental patterns emerged? What can I improve tomorrow? The AI responds like an interactive journal. No criticism, just pure reflection. Sometimes it confirms my disciplined execution. Other times it highlights hesitations or potential improvements. I listen carefully because this voice isn't trying to impress me. It's focused on helping me grow. That's the essence of my ritual. Start centered, analyze objectively, plan precisely, execute with discipline, and debrief honestly every single day. The crucial insight is that I didn't develop this approach to become robotic. I created it to preserve my humanity in a market that punishes emotional trading. There's a misconception that success requires becoming cold and unfeeling. That's fundamentally incorrect. To protect your emotional core, you need robust systems, clear boundaries, and unwavering clarity. A ritual doesn't strip away your humanity. It safeguards it. It prevents impulsive chasing, overcompensation, and destructive revenge trading. Instead, it creates space for disciplined yet passionate engagement, strategic but not detached, consistent but not cold. That's the true power of a well-designed ritual. Trading with AI becomes a ritual that transcends daily emotional fluctuations. The key is showing up with a process more powerful than your inner turmoil. Over time, this ritual transforms your identity from the inside out, not through external changes, but through internal rewiring. Eventually, you'll look back at your former self, the trader who frantically clicked entries, redrew trend lines repeatedly, and desperately prayed to market gods, and feel like a stranger. Now, you don't react. You prepare. You don't hope. You execute. You don't chase. You wait. You're a unique being, afraid yet machine-like, emotional yet disciplined. Every trader battles on two fronts. The first is against the market, fast, brutal, unpredictable. The second is against themselves, slow, silent, devastating. Most traders fall not to market trends or indicators, but to the internal voice whispering dangerous thoughts. You must recover your losses. Don't miss this move. You were right last time. Double your position. It'll reverse. Just wait. Just hold. This isn't just emotion. It's mental warfare. But what if you didn't have to fight alone? What if you could remain calm, grounded, and rational amid chaos, not by suppressing emotion or pretending to be fearless, but by building an objective, unblinking support system, an AI as an emotional firewall? Consider Rachel's story. She was a solid trader with good systems and instincts until Brexit. One night of unexpected volatility erased 2 months of profits. Afterward, she couldn't hold winning trades, exiting too early, letting fear dictate her decisions. She lost trust in her own judgment. In the community, she confessed her struggle. Every time I'm in profit, I panic and exit too soon. When I'm at a loss, I freeze and wait. I can't trust my own judgment anymore. The solution? Let AI manage trade exits, while she focuses on finding setups. Let the machine handle the emotional battleground where human judgment falters. At first, the idea seemed crazy, but she decided to try. She entered the trades, making it her job. AI took care of the exits. It was its designated task. ChatGPT validated her approach, calculating stop losses and setting profit targets based on historical volatility and current market sentiment. She established a strict rule: no overrides, no personal intervention. Once the AI made a decision, she would step back completely. During the first week, she felt constrained, almost trapped. But something unexpected happened. Trades ran longer than she would have typically allowed. Stop losses held steady through market noise, and profits reached full targets instead of being prematurely cut by her anxiety. Her average winner jumped from 18 to 47 pips. Her average loser shrank from 45 to 22. Her win rate increased by 12%. She wasn't trading harder. She was trading with guardrails. As she eloquently put it, AI didn't just manage her trade, it managed her. It guided her through the moments where she traditionally would fall apart. This was an emotional firewall's true power. not just blocking bad trades, but blocking destructive impulses. It would speak up when her logic started to unravel. It would remind her of her plan, not her fears. It would hold her rules steady, even when she felt like abandoning them. She remained the trader, but now with a co-pilot that never panicked. A co-pilot that wouldn't engage in revenge trading or become tilted after a loss. Her daily approach became systematic. She would ask Claude about probability-based next moves after taking a loss. She'd consult ChatGPT when feeling revenge impulses, requesting an analysis of recent trades and a reminder of her trading system. With Gemini, she'd investigate whether market structure had genuinely changed or if she was just experiencing fear of missing out. These AI interactions weren't about coddling her. They were about grounding her. When her brain was flooded with cortisol, dopamine, and adrenaline, making clear perception impossible, AI could still see clearly. She drew a powerful analogy. You wouldn't drive 150 miles per hour on a mountain road without guardrails. You wouldn't fly a plane through turbulence without instruments. Yet most traders do exactly that daily, trading without an emotional system, without structure to protect themselves when fear strikes. For her, AI was more than a market tool. It was a mindset tool. It's like a mental compass that guides you when your thoughts become cloudy. It reminds you of the original strategy when you're tempted to improvise. It acts as a barrier, stopping the emotional spiral before it can take hold, functioning like a calm therapist or a wise friend who recalls your rational words during moments of potential self-destruction. Here's the hidden truth nobody shares. Winning doesn't mean eliminating emotions entirely. Instead, it's about preventing emotions from seizing control. Artificial intelligence won't stop you from feeling, but it can prevent you from acting on destructive impulses that undermine your success. This isn't a sign of weakness, it's true strength. Most traders never experience this level of control because they're constantly fighting against their own instincts. But you're different now. You have the tools, you have a plan, and most importantly, you have a rational firewall. This system doesn't get angry. It doesn't chase. It doesn't care about being right, only about being logical. The more you use it, the more powerful it becomes. And it's not just the AI growing stronger. You are too. You're transforming into a trader who doesn't crumble after a loss, who remains steady during drawdowns, who doesn't waste days drowning in shame or revenge. You now have support. You have boundaries. You have clarity. When that urge strikes, the impulse to click, the fear of missing out, the rising tension in your chest, don't try to suppress it. Simply pause. Open your AI prompt and ask the transformative question, what would I do right now if I wasn't afraid? Let the AI respond. Then make your decision. This is how you win the emotional battle. Not through force, but through truth, structure, and support. Your first profitable week becomes unforgettable. Not because of the money, but because of its deeper meaning. During that week, every day ends in profit or controlled balance. You don't chase, you don't panic, you don't override the system. You start Monday as a trader and end Friday as something more. This week changes everything. It's not about the outcome, but the confirmation. The moment the mental fog lifts and you realize, I'm not guessing anymore. I'm executing. I'm not just surviving. I'm operating. I'm not trying to be a trader. I am one. Tommy was an unemployed engineer, smart but broken, after losing his job during layoffs. For 18 months, he had been trying to break into trading, and most days were a whirlwind of chaotic trades and emotional exhaustion. By Tuesday, he was mentally drained, and by Friday, he was broke. Then, he discovered our AI trading community. Initially skeptical, he thought it was just another dead end. We gave him simple advice. Don't aim to get rich, just aim to get green. We challenged him to follow our prompts precisely for 5 consecutive days, nothing more. His first week was still messy. He overtraded, remained impatient, and didn't see a green week, but made small improvements. The second week showed slight progress, fewer mistakes, more structure. He had 3 green days, 2 red, but no major breakthrough. By the third week, Tommy started asking smarter questions. He wanted to understand his missed opportunities, questioning whether he was forcing trades and considering macro perspectives before executing. Week 4 was his turning point. Monday, plus 47 on USD. Tuesday, plus 83 on gold. Wednesday, plus 22 on a controlled stop. Thursday, plus 91 on GBP JPY. Friday, plus 126 on Bitcoin. Total net, 325. But the real victory wasn't the money. It was his newfound discipline. For the first time, he felt in complete control of his mind. He meticulously documented every trade, logging prompts, and AI analyses. He asked ChatGPT to analyze his transformation. The AI's response was revealing. He now honored stop losses, sized positions strategically, waited for confirmations, and executed without emotional interference. He had shifted from hoping to win to expecting to succeed. He printed this insight and placed it above his monitor. 3 months later, the results spoke volumes. 11 out of 12 weeks profitable, a count up 340%. He remained humble but had become formidable, not through recklessness, but through repeatable process. His success wasn't about luck, but about identity. A green week isn't about chance. It's about becoming the type of trader who can consistently generate returns without dramatic ups and downs. Here's the rewritten fragment. Imagine a trader who doesn't undermine their own success, who doesn't need constant validation to be profitable, someone calm under pressure, confident without needing to prove anything. Their results speak for themselves. Most traders never reach this level. They might score big wins, but quickly lose everything because they're chasing emotions, not building a system. But once you experience true trading structure, once you complete a week in profit and know it wasn't luck or fear-driven impulse, something fundamental changes. You're no longer just watching trades happen. You're witnessing yourself become the trader you always wanted to be. Consider this. What would change if next Friday your trading account was green and your mind was peaceful? How would it feel to close your laptop knowing every trade was intentional? Not reactive, not emotional, but carefully planned. Imagine looking in the mirror and recognizing a real trader, not someone who got lucky once, but someone who has built a repeatable approach. The first green week is mostly chance. The second week shows more control. By the third week, you're balancing skill and opportunity. But in the fourth week, everything transforms. You move from chasing opportunities to owning your strategy, from hoping to knowing. This isn't just about trading. It's about personal transformation, from randomness to rhythm, from chaos to calm. You're not just executing trades anymore. You are a trader. This identity becomes deeper, more powerful. Consistency makes you unshakable. Patterns emerge, one strategy, one mindset. When applied correctly, this approach works across different markets. True trading edge isn't about secrets. It's about discipline, logic, and consistent thinking. And when you combine this with technology like AI, your potential becomes truly portable. Here's the rewritten fragment. I've broken free from market limitations. Now I'm operating a multi-market trading machine. Scaling isn't just about increasing trade size. It's about expanding across entire asset classes. Most traders view Forex, crypto, and stocks as separate worlds. But they're not. They're different languages that all communicate through price, volume, structure, and sentiment. And AI understands them all fluently. My process starts every Sunday night. I activate my system and prompt Gemini to provide macroeconomic updates and major weekly catalysts across Forex, crypto, and U.S. equities. This gives me a comprehensive overview. I track key events, the FOMC statement on Wednesday, Bitcoin's having cycle trend points, tech earnings on Thursday, Japan's inflation print Friday night, potential oil supply shocks affecting the Canadian dollar. This becomes my strategic foundation. I'm not randomly scanning charts. I'm navigating market narratives. Next, I use my tools to analyze specific charts. GBP, USD, BTC, USDT, and Tesla. I search for volatility zones, structural shifts, and high probability continuation or reversal setups. I break down each chart methodically, with machine-like precision and contextual clarity. Then, I prompt another AI to construct a weekly strategy encompassing 2 Forex trades, 1 crypto swing, and a stock options play. I request detailed entries, exits, rationale, and risk management parameters. The result is more than simple signals. It's a comprehensive strategic map with logical branches and contingency plans. My core philosophy is clear. You don't need separate identities for different markets. You need an intelligent, adaptive system. AI enables this approach, providing a competitive edge without overwhelming stress. Each market has its unique characteristics. Forex is a disciplined, liquid environment, structurally consistent and news-driven, yet still technically nuanced. With AI, I can rapidly filter through 28 currency pairs, identifying those with the tightest structure and cleanest momentum. Crypto represents an emotional, volatile landscape, sentiment-driven and offering potentially huge, asymmetric rewards, despite less consistent structural patterns. Here's the rewritten text for the narrator. Trading can be overwhelming, but I've found a way to cut through the noise. With tools like Gemini, I track top crypto narratives and understand what markets are pricing early. My approach has transformed from random gambling to strategic chaos management. I've developed a systematic method across different markets. In stocks, I move with a slower, more deliberate pace. Earnings season offers great swing trading opportunities and teaches patience. My strategy involves multiple layers of analysis. Claude helps me identify breakout structures in large-cap stocks. Gemini provides earnings and macro catalyst insights. ChatGPT assists in building my options thesis. Take a specific example. If a stock like TSL breaks $740 with significant volume, the structure supports a 2-week call position. I create a trade plan with defined risk, planning to exit at a 2-1 ratio. This approach mirrors my Forex discipline. Same logic, same intensity, just different rhythm. The core principle is adaptability. Markets constantly change, so your system must flex without breaking. AI becomes a powerful partner, processing information without emotional interference. By aligning technological insights with solid trading structure, you can navigate multiple markets effectively. Each market teaches a different skill. Forex sharpens discipline. Crypto tests emotional control. Stocks challenge patience and narrative understanding. Mastering all three transforms you from a simple trader to a multi-market operator, a rare and potent identity. The key is selective, measured engagement. Don't try to do everything simultaneously. Use AI as a filter, not a crutch. Follow the system. 1 bias per day, 1 or 2 markets at a time. This approach prevents burnout and enables continuous skill development. As your confidence grows, your trading range expands. You're no longer chasing volume, but selecting precise opportunities across asset classes. This is how a part-time trader evolves into a professional with sophisticated tools. So when someone asks what you trade, you'll have a compelling answer. I stand firm, unwavering. I declare my approach with confidence. I trade systems. I trade discipline. I scale my edge wherever opportunity exists. I'm no longer tied to a single market, but committed to process, precision, and performance. With AI as my ally, my potential becomes limitless. Initially, trading was just an activity, a chart, a setup, a strategy. A few dollars gained, a few more lost. I'd tell myself I'd eventually figure it out. I'd sit at my screen, hoping for that moment of clarity, waiting for the chaos to settle, longing to stop feeling like an imposter. Then, suddenly, everything shifts. I wake up and realize I'm not just trading anymore. I've become a trader. My perspective transforms completely. I start seeing life through the same lens as the market. No longer chasing, but observing, understanding, waiting. I stop forcing outcomes. I no longer need to be first or prove my worth. My breathing changes. I listen more, speak less. I've learned that true power resides in silence. Trading teaches me something most never understand. Discipline is freedom. Routine is power. Waiting is strength. I build systems not just in charts, but in my entire life. Wake, move, prepare, execute, review. This applies to trades and daily existence. And surprisingly, it's no longer about money. Yes, my account grows. Yes, results compound. But that's not the point. The real victory is self-trust. I trust my thinking, my restraint, my rhythm. External validation becomes irrelevant. I know exactly who I am and what I'm building. My morning begins early before the world's noise. I light a candle, stretch, hydrate, sit in silence. I consult AI companions, seeking insights into the world's tone, the structure behind chaos, the plan that reflects my evolution. When I enter a trade, it's not about financial gain. It's about alignment, about proving my control. Then, I close my laptop and go for a walk. You call your mother, you play with your daughter. And when you come back, green or red doesn't matter. Because now, you trade without attachment. You live without panic. You move with intention. This is the final transformation. Not becoming the best trader in the room, but becoming the kind of person who doesn't need the room anymore. You stop looking for signals. You start looking for clarity. You stop reacting. You start responding. You stop chasing opportunity. Because now opportunity chases you. Trading becomes meditation. Each candle is a breath. Each plan is a reflection. Each loss is a lesson. You no longer fear losing. You fear breaking your rules. And that shift is everything. Because that's when it becomes life itself. Life where you think before you speak, wait before you act, analyze before you judge, and review before you repeat. You don't trade for dopamine anymore. You trade for process. You don't trade to escape your life. You trade to master it. Some people ask, doesn't using artificial intelligence take the soul out of it? And I say no, it reveals your soul. Because now you're not battling noise and ego every day. You're operating with clarity. Artificial intelligence doesn't make you a machine. It gives you the freedom to be more human, to think, to reflect, to choose. It becomes the mirror. And in that mirror, you finally see the person you were always capable of being. And when you see that person clearly, you stop quitting. You stop rushing. You stop sabotaging. Because now, every morning is a mission. Every trade is a ritual. Every review is a reward, not for performance, but for integrity. And that's where we end this story. Not with a luxury car, not with a six-figure day, but with a quiet room, a clear plan, and a trader who finally says, "This is me. I don't trade for escape. I trade for mastery. I don't chase the market. I respect it because I respect myself." So, if you've made it this far, this isn't the end. This is the beginning. The beginning of a career, a lifestyle, a philosophy. Artificial intelligence didn't replace your humanity. It helped reveal it. Now you think better, decide better, live better. Because now, trading isn't just something you do, it's who you are. You've made it to the end. And that says something. Not just about your curiosity, not just about your interest in trading, but about your readiness. Because most people quit halfway. They nod, agree, and change nothing. But you're still here. Not because you're perfect, but because you're hungry. Hungry to stop sabotaging yourself. Hungry to trade with clarity. Hungry to become the version of you who no longer doubts their discipline. So now the question is simple. What are you going to do with this momentum? Will you go back to old habits? Or will you finally build the system that serves your future? If you found this video helpful, subscribe, and share your story in the comments. Your support helps others too.